Hello everybody, happy weekend. Welcome to the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. Today is Saturday, November 7th, and welcome to this edition of the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. Here on G4G, today's background music is brought to you by Jaina's Theme Music Patch 5.1. I have chosen this in honor of it being BlizzCon weekend. That is why this is about a day late, and unfortunately Friday and Saturday's live PvP 5 on Twitch will not be broadcast because I will be tied up watching BlizzCon via the virtual ticket. For those who are fans of Blizzard products, there was definitely a lot of information on Overwatch, including 3 new heroes: Hanzo's brother Genji, Diva, and May or Mai. We also found out about the World of Warcraft movie, and we increased the trailer from the original 45-second one to one that's about 2 minutes. I recognize 2 of the actors that will be acting in the movie. One of them is Kurgan from the original Highlander film. You may remember him as the guy who was stalking Connor McLeod of the Cloud McLeods throughout the whole movie. And the actor who played the main guy in Pandorum, that was essentially going around the ship trying to restart the engines and everything like that. And I also believe he was in Alpha Dog. Forget the guy's name, but you'll kind of know him when you see him. So I am excited for the Warcraft movie. It's one of those things that I'm going to be extremely picky about, and I kind of hope I can put that aside in seeing the trailer for it and some of the stills. I have a certain mental image of how orcs look from the Warcraft series, and Durotan in the trailer is a little too human male-ish for me. I want him to kind of look uglier to a certain degree, because of how ugly male and female orcs have been until their models were updated recently. But yeah, definitely excited for the Warcraft movie. We've had some discussions on World of Warcraft Legion, which will be coming out next summer, which unfortunately means there is a ton of time that we are running around in Warlords of Draenor with no new content, which is very, very shitty. Heroes of the Storm is going to be getting 3 new heroes. Actually, 4 new heroes, one of which is tied directly to BlizzCon. We are getting Lunara the Dryad. We are getting Greymane the Werewolf, human werewolf. And we are getting Tracer from the IP of Overwatch. And for those who went to BlizzCon or had the BlizzCon virtual ticket, we are getting Cho'Gall, which is going to be the first 2-person hero in Heroes of the Storm, and likely any MOBA as far as I can tell. Basically, one person will pilot the actual body and the head of Cho, which is kind of bruiser based, and the other person will pilot the head of Gall, which is more caster based. So essentially you are driving a motorcycle with a sidecar. You are in control of the motorcycle and where it goes, and the person in the sidecar can sit there with a gun and act like a turret while you drive and do other things. Very, very interesting. Diablo 3, there's been some announcements. There is a new expansion to Hearthstone coming out, and with Legacy of the Void showing up for StarCraft 2, they have also announced that they want to run StarCraft 2 out into the future for quite a while by doing mission packs, and the first mission pack will have you intimately tied to the story of Terra Nova, who, as we all know, is a Terran ghost that has kind of taken over where Kerrigan used to be before turning into the Queen of Blades. So, for the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance, PvP Season 25 is going on with 16 days left in PvP. My offensive team is no longer featuring Molly after playing around with ASG during the break, all 15 seconds of it between Season 24 and Season 25. I basically noticed why so many people were using her on defense. She does phenomenal numbers. So my offensive gear is now the Grace Note and the Venom Launcher. The Venom Launcher is pulling a little bit of double duty. It is there as a buff stick or a stat stick for the Grace Note. It is also there to work on Rezzers because of the near fatal. The satellite support is here to make sure that the very single target oriented HAIF and Amazing Spider-Girl do not get disoriented into their own team. Being webbed from ASG when I don't have the ability to remove it, like via Pesty, would be really, really bad. The weather control device and the Scroll of Runamaroth. My defense, however, has stayed the same. All bruisers with a big and fast over here, the elite ISO and Candy over here, and tag team over here. Scroll of Runamaroth, Mystic WCD, Hugin's Eye, and the Grace Note. The Scroll of Runamaroth does set up the Grace Note with the opportunistic debuffs. These guys are working pretty well. They definitely lost once to a 34k Pesty and ASG team with the agent running the Lunacy. That put a hurting on the stamina a bit there, as the agent was kitted out to basically run that thing every turn. So that was kind of a bad game, but that's really the only loss that I can think of. I may be lost to a follow-up team like a Rocket and a War type team, but I don't really recall. I think I maybe have lost 2 so far on offense this season, but we've still got a ways to go, and of course we have the higher echelons to get to. As we know, in terms of the rewards, we have this Roaring Rampage, we have the Tactician ISO, which I do not think is best slotted on the agent. I mean, yes, restoring stamina would be good, but preventing effects that lockout buff and debuff, don't see that common. You'll have to excuse my yawning over here. I've unfortunately dealt with 2 days of cluster headaches on the way out. It's fading. My season's hopefully ending, but still dealing with it a little bit. And being immune to exhausted, we know that the safeguard suit already provides that, so I think this is better suited for actual heroes that do not have that ability. And I think this could make a really good splash on people like Red Hulk, people like Pesty. I mean, this is honestly one of the best things Pesty could potentially wear. Savant is pretty good, but his whole heal unless he attacks ISO I've never been that fond of. And of course we have Foxy Cleopatra over here, as I always like to say. Yeah, these guys are getting it done, and I've discovered that with Molly out of the lineup, there is a bigger balance between who is doing the killing. Whereas Molly did 90 to 95% of it in previous seasons, right now ASG is doing like 60%, and HAIF and my agent are definitely getting in and getting themselves some on the side over here. So we have a sale going on in the store. I can't tell fully what it is because I do have it. However, you can see that I do not have CSR Scrapper and I do not have MK42 Tactician. I don't really feel the need to get either one of these. I have other ways of getting a Tactician out of Iron Man if needed, and I would not let my CSR ever sit as a Scrapper. But if you do not have any CSR costumes at all, you definitely want to get yourself some of this, as it turns Captain America into a phenomenal toolkit. A lot of people kind of get into this fight with me about CSR and other Captain America outfits, saying that, oh, the other ones are so much better because he's so single-minded, he's a tank, he's a tank, he's a tank all day, he's great. Defensively, you certainly have a point, but in the hands of you and not the AI, CSR is a just very, very good character. I used to run him in PvP, I've run him against group bosses. He brings a generalize, he brings a depower, he brings the ability to counter ranged, melee, buff and debuff actions. He could throw a shield for a variety of debuffs like wide open and locked on. And his level 1 can also be slotted with an ISO that does subdue. So you definitely want to get yourself a CSR. You definitely also want to get yourself an MK42, although a lot of people like Ugly Iron Man because of the stamina restoring capabilities, especially when bringing Iron Man to group bosses, but I've heard of nobody using the Unibeam strategy against Dracula this time. The Raft Shank is on sale. It says that they're doing the oh so lovely favor of discounting it for you from 128 to 83. I honestly do not believe that this is worth either one of those two costs. I believe at 64, I would recommend this all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. And that's how I feel about that. But 83 is a little stretchy. Now, it is not a very powerful weapon in terms of its damage. However, it is a very, very powerful weapon in the sense that you become Heroic Age Iron Fist without his ISO. More so than the Scrapper suit, the Raft Shank, of course, has a very high, well, not a very high, but a very good chance to do Combo Breaker. When you use it, it is stealthy, and it also applies Pincushion, which further increases the damage of counter and follow-ups, and you have things like Rattled and everything that do that. If you are attempting to run a counter team, a follow-up team, etc., then the Raft Shank is very, very good, and you can slot this with things like the Roscoe, the Gauntlet Caress, the Mandible, the Rapier, the Cosmic Cardinal, the Bishop, the Blade of the Guardian, the Bug Zapper, etc., etc. The list goes on. And the Raft Shank is a good initiator of the whole Spider-Man Noir Rocket Raccoon style flood of attacks. So it is a good item. It's just 83 is a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow. I believe the Raft Shank was formerly a gold sale item rather than being a standalone thing. I believe it was a bonus for the gold sale, if I recall correctly. I will say that it does show up from time to time, so if you cannot get it now, rest assured you will probably see it again. But if you do not have a Raft Shank at all in your inventory, you probably do want to get one. Again, 83 is a little bit of a stretch for this, but it is a relatively once-in-a-lifetime weapon currently. So, especially if you don't have HAIF, you want to get the Raft Shank. So that's where we are for the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. I myself have a A-bomb at level 9. I do find he hits pretty hard, sort of as what you would think with a skin like this. My Mordo is 5, relatively close to 6. My Kamala is actually 6, and I'm looking forward to doing Boot to the Head for the first time. My Spitfire 7 going on 8. And I needed to refill my bonus bar for Baron Mordo twice. He needed it for cover 7 and he needed it for cover 8. I've had some fun using the Fixer setup when doing the Dracula group boss lately. I wonder if I still have that setup going on over here. Predominantly when it comes to the Infiltrator and the Tactician versions, I had been using Hogun and Union Jack, but I've also kind of been experimenting around with a Fixer group just to have fun setting up for the big numbers, and this is actually the team that I've been running. I've been using HAIF to provide the immunities. I've been setting up Fixer, and I was using the Lantern of Doom as a Mystic, Chaos Shot to put out attrition debuffs for Fixer, Vampiric Sword for a chance at extra turns, Scroll of Ruder Maroth to make sure he doesn't clear those attrition debuffs, and the Weather Control Device. And it's definitely been a little bit of fun. I think I would switch him more to his Scrapper suit for this particular one. But yeah, my highest Fixer hit has been 605k, but it was a kind of a low Dracula, so I didn't wind up getting a huge amount of silver from it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. I will see you guys on Sunday for a resumption of the Twitch Live PvP 5 for Season 25, as I took Friday and today off for BlizzCon items. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and take care.